Welcome, fellow screamers, to another spine-chilling episode of Scream Creeps, the podcast where we dissect the darkest corners of cinema. I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm here again with my brothers Aaron and Josh. And tonight we're diving deep into the eerie world of A Quiet Place, the 12th most spine-tingling movie on the list of the 35 scariest films according to Science back in 2020. So grab your popcorn, turn down the lights, and let's tiptoe into the terrifying silence. For those of you who haven't seen A Quiet Place, you're in for a treat, or a nightmare. Directed by John Krasinski, this post-apocalyptic horror flick takes the concept of silence to a whole new level. Set in a world overrun by creatures with hypersensitive hearing, the survival of a family depends on their ability to remain utterly silent. It's a premise that keeps you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Now, let's talk about what makes this movie so spine-chilling. From the heart-pounding sound design to the nerve-wracking suspense, A Quiet Place is a masterclass in tension building. And let's not forget the incredible performances, particularly from Emily Blunt and the young Millicent Simmons, whose portrayal of a deaf character adds a whole new layer of intensity to the film. But what really sets A Quiet Place apart is its emotional depth. Yes, it's a terrifying thrill ride, but at its core, it's a story about family, survival, and the lengths we'll go to protect the ones we love. And trust me, by the end of this movie, your heart will be racing just as much as your pulse. So whether you're a horror aficionado like we are or just looking for a good scare, A Quiet Place is a must-watch. But fair warning, you may want to keep the lights on afterward. Join us next time as we continue. Wait a minute. What did I write here?
You were doing so good, man.
So good, and then
so
fucking
Yeah.
what the
And
shit
you
is
ruined
this?
the whole intro just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I wrote something here that was weird, but yeah, I wrote something there, and anyways, and what
And
I
then you
meant to
didn't
write,
fix it. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't fix it. I must have
What'd you
started
use?
going down. But anyway, what I meant to say
Just
was, and remember, if you hear something in the darkness, it's probably already too late. I don't know what I did right there. Anyhow, I'm looking at it going, that doesn't seem right. I must have started writing something and forgot to delete it. But A Quiet Place, one thing I wanted to point out, like I always do, is this film was produced back in 2018, and it was written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods and John Krasinski, who, if you guys don't know, John Krasinski is known for his role as Jim Halpert in The Office.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like we said earlier, the plot revolves around a mother and father who struggles to survive and raise their children in the world inhabited by these creatures with an acute sense of hearing. Uh, I guess Beck and Woods developed the concept for the story while they were in college and began writing the screenplay back in January of 2016. They told Platinum Dunes producers that they wanted Blunt for the role of the mother back then. And in July of 16, Krasinski read their script for the role of the father. He spoke with Blunt about his ideas for the story, and she suggested that he actually direct the film. Blunt initially did not take the role, but later felt connected to the story after reading a draft of the script. And the two of them collaborated on ideas for the film during pre-production. In March 2017, Krasinski was ultimately announced as the director, co-writer, and co-star along with Blunt. And filming took place in upstate New York from May to November of 2017. A Quiet Place actually premiered at South by Southwest on March 9th of 2018. The budget for the film was $17 million, and it grossed $341 million.
shit.
Nice.
And upwards up to $350 million worldwide. The film was chosen by the National Board of Review and American Film Institute as one of the top 10 films of 2018. It was nominated for several awards, including Golden Globe for Best Original Score, Academy Award for Best Sound Editing, Writers Guild of America Award for Best Original Screenplay, and Blunt actually won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role. On our last podcast, we kind of talked about this, but a sequel, A Quiet Place 2, Part 2, premiered in New York City on March 8th of 2020 and was released in the United States May 28th of 2021, with Krasinski returning as director and the main cast also returning with the addition of Cillian Murphy. And a spinoff titled A Quiet Place Day 1, and a second sequel, A Quiet Place Part 3, are scheduled to be released on June 28th, 2024 and in 2025.
Oh, okay. So they aren't doing another sequel to the. Okay.
Yep. So, but with that, we can go ahead and get started talking about what we thought about the film, because I'm not sure. Aaron, had you seen this one before, or was this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. When
Okay.
right around when it came out.
Okay.
I don't remember if I saw it in theaters or not. But yeah, I definitely watched this.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but when I heard that we were doing it again, I was like, all right, cool. I get to watch it again. It's one of those movies to where if it was on TV, I would definitely watch it every single time,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's that good. I mean, I would say in recent years, I don't really put it in the horror genre personally. It's more thriller or not even thriller. I don't know what to.
Well, yeah, I
I
would
mean,
consider it more
it's drama,
sci-fi,
but
science fiction.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. But it's kind of like a thriller drama because it does have your heart racing at a lot of different places. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it what you said in the intro. It was a perfect description of it. It just had the anticipation, or it in uh I forget what you said, but it was a perfect way to explain how you feel. Like, do you
The
remember what you said?
nerve-wracking suspense or the tension
Suspense.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. It's a drama suspense movie because it
Mm-hmm.
just leaves you there the whole time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good portion of the movie to where you're just like, holy crap, they're cramming so much stuff into this, and it's just almost like go 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 the entire
Mm-hmm.
time, which I loved. But it was one of the in later years, it's one of the better films that I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that it was written, the characters themselves, like there's just so many good things about this movie that I do like it a lot. So John Krasinski is the father, perfect. Emily Blunt, that was some of the best acting I've seen in a long time. A
Mm-hmm.
long time. It was just amazing what she did. Oh,
Well, yeah,
great.
and I don't want to, on this one, because it's so, I mean, it's only 5 years old. So, I mean, there are probably a lot of people that haven't seen it. So I don't want to give a crazy amount away during this one like we have in other ones, because, those movies have been 40 years older in some instances.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out, there's a couple of things that I do want to point out. So the part in the tub
Uh
that
huh.
Emily, when she's having the baby,
Yeah.
and thinking about in that instance trying to keep your mouth shut. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you guys don't have kids, but my wife, Elaine has been through two of these, and the pain that you go through as a female having a kid and being in a house and trying to make sure you don't say anything. And she finally did, obviously, but that tension that they built up during that particular part, and they kind of let you know what was happening at the same time.
Oh, not kind
You
of. They
could,
definitely.
yeah,
You knew what was happening as soon as
yeah,
that water broke for sure.
yeah. And so it's like, um, just thinking about that scenario, um, as a dad, seeing my wife, go through labor, and then what ultimately happens later in the film with John Krasinski's character, I was thinking about how I would react as a dad in that same scenario, and I would do exactly the same thing. So that's what we've talked about this in other podcasts. Was I like the hyper realism in films where they do the things that you would think they would do in real life, and this was one of those movies that they did everything that I would venture to do in these scenarios. If I ran into the same thing, I would do pretty much the same stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
the way that they react to everything in this movie, it was like you felt it.
mm-hmm,
You empathized with it, especially. And I don't have a wife that had kids or anything like that, but that bathroom scene, that is one of the most intense parts of the movie.
yeah, yeah,
As soon as the fireworks go off and she belts out that scream, you feel it, dude.
mm-hmm,
Oh my god, just the way
Hmm.
that it's edited, and then she screams and then it cuts to something else or it fades into. Oh, dude, it
yeah. And don't get
was
me
so
wrong, I
good.
didn't mean anything by saying you guys don't have wives or don't have, but going
Oh, no, no, I
just
was just
being in
giving
the
an
yeah,
example of, like,
yeah,
even someone that doesn't.
yeah,
Like, sure, I'm almost 40, man. I know that women go through a tremendous amount of pain. I've
mm-hmm,
been through pain, but not like that.
yeah, mm-hmm,
So it's like, if I can't describe it, it's gotta be bad.
yeah,
You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? So it's like, and
Oh yeah,
being able to hold that in, of course, and she's acting. It's not like she's pregnant or anything like that, but the way that she acted it, holy shit, man.
yeah,
Like, it was so intense.
mm-hmm,
It was just awesome. No wonder she got the Screen Actors Guild Award. Hell, I would even venture to say, for a sci-fi horror flick, she should have gotten an Academy Award for that. Because
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah,
in 2018. I don't recall seeing any actors act like that.
no,
Like, yeah, that's rare. I've seen actors act that well. So it's like,
yeah. Especially emoting where they're not barely speaking a word throughout the whole movie.
well, when
There's
I
like only
it's
a few lines of dialogue in the whole entire movie. And it's funny how you think about A Quiet Place. They literally tried to, and especially that's one reason why I think they did so well is that they built it up with tension with no uh, speech involved hardly at all. And then like you had to base it off of like music that you were hearing in the scenes and stuff like that. They told just a great story from right off the beginning of the movie. They showed exactly how it was gonna be throughout the whole entire movie, with just them with their kid and just a fucking toy.
yeah, and
So
the intro of the antagonist in the movie itself, the way that they introduced it was amazing. Like,
mm-hmm,
you had no idea.
hmm.
You had an idea, like, oh, they've got to be quiet, they've got to do this, that. But then they didn't describe anything about this creature, nothing. But they show you what it does, and boom, it had a huge impact. Because I remember when I first watched it, I was like, holy shit,
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
yeah,
So then it just led up to the rest of the movie, to where, of course, they're going to be in an intense environment that the duration of the time that they're in it.
yep,
So, but the writing was just so good, man. It was, yeah. I can't praise this movie enough.
mm-hmm,
yeah.
It
It's definitely, I would say probably one because I didn't watch horror movies for a long time too. Like before, like there was a nice 5 or 10 year probably. Uh, I can't remember placing it that where I didn't enjoy most horror movies that came out around then because it was like Ouija, and then there was like a bunch of like it's like Truth or Dare. Then there was a bunch of found footage stuff. Nothing
just like
really made
cliche
me
horror
want to
movie
watch.
stuff.
Yeah, it was like such cliched bullshit where even they still kind of do that now where like we saw the when we were talking about theater junkies, one of them was a movie called Tarot. It's like, of course, it's a horror movie about tarot cards now. So when I saw this one, it definitely got me back into watching certain other horror movies. It was like dipping my toe
Do
into them again.
you guys recall? Did Bird Box come out before or after this? I'm pretty sure it was after, right?
Bird
I
Box
think
was after, I
after,
think.
yeah.
I think it was like 2019,
It was
2020 or
because of this
something.
movie that Bird Box was written. Because it was like a
Yeah.
void of sense horror flick where it was like you couldn't see in that one, this one you can hear, or it was like
Yeah, it came out actually a few months after. It came out
yeah.
in
Oh,
November of
damn.
2018.
I also really like that they. I don't know if they chose this family or made this family have these attributes, but you would think in an event like this, a lot of people would die, right? But this is a family in particular that uh, has the communication because they have a deaf daughter. Like they have a one up compared to other people because they can communicate at a high level
Hmm.
outside of speech. So it's like I like that element as well, to where that it's very believable that these people would survive compared to somebody else because they don't.
Well, especially when you think about, like, okay, so anyone else in the situation, because they were doing a lot of signing and everything else. This one, if you would write down stuff, that would be even leaving noises for
Yeah,
anyone to hear.
exactly. That's what I'm
So
saying.
it would make it even harder for, and like, anybody that didn't know signing, like us involved, pretty much. Like it would be a detriment to us to be able to talk to each other unless you had to do a waterfall or something
Yeah,
super noisy to mask what you're saying. So like that, and that's one reason why I think the attention to detail so much in this movie is what makes it so good and makes it like I was literally talking about this because I knew that we were going to talk about it on the podcast, and somebody was like, "I've never watched it." I'm like, "Well, you should definitely watch it because literally, it's just a super good movie, and it's just easy to understand from the
Well,
off jump, and
yeah,
it's
so
not like too scary for you to be like, "Oh shit!" Like it has its moments, but it's not like to the extent of some other movies like where you're just like, holy shit, like how we were just talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and shit.
yeah, so one thing I did want to point out, we've got at number 7, we've got The Conjuring 2. And then at number 3, we've got The Conjuring, but we've already reviewed those on the channel. How about it instead of at number 7, we watch
we'll
A
do a
Quiet
quiet
Place
place too.
2?
All right, yeah, I'm
I
down for
mean,
that.
we can, yeah.
I
Well, I'm
actually
just
already
saying that,
watched Quiet Place too, but
yeah,
I will watch it again.
the reason I say that is in 2021 and in 2022, that's number 9 and number 8 respectively on the list of the scariest
Oh,
movies.
Mm.
really?
So
So
literally
after the
we can
changes,
just replace that one
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with this one. And
Okay.
and I figured that would be a good replacement.
No,
Since
good.
I've never actually seen the second one. So
Yeah, I haven't
Ah,
either.
all right.
I just
um
never got around to watching it.
so
I love
so
Emily Blunt, so just about anything she's in, with the exception of that cruise
she
one
was
with the
even
Rock.
pretty good in that one. There's
I'm
another
not
one I
saying
Oh,
think
she isn't
she's
bad.
oh,
I'm
you
just
yeah.
don't
I
like the
love
World of
her as an
Tomorrow or
actress.
whatever?
No,
I think
Jungle
she's
Cruise I
one of
think
the
is what he was
strongest
talking about with The
Oh, the
Rock.
one with the
actors.
Rock
Yeah.
in it. Oh,
Um
okay.
but yeah, she's in a one called The Fall Guy coming up. So maybe that'll be
Oh yeah,
one
with
with
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling in it. Yeah.
Gosling in it. So maybe you'll want to talk about that on Theater
Well,
Junkies, Aaron.
Perhaps
where I
Yeah.
didn't realize this at the time, it's based on an old TV show or something. From what I've heard,
Fall
is
Guy.
that it used to
Sounds
be a
familiar.
show called The Fall Guy. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
with
mean, yeah,
there was a Fall Guy show. It had
yeah. I
what's his
think
name?
that's what
Lee
it's based
Majors
off
in
of.
it. I think Lee
Oh,
Majors was in it.
oh,
Oh, that's funny.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lee Majors and Heather Thomas. Marky Post was even at that. I didn't know, but I do. Lee Majors was in it, but uh, I don't know if the movie was based on it though. But maybe it was.
Well, that's what I saw something where it was talking about it
It might have been.
being
I mean,
like being based
until
off of it.
we'll look at that if we decide to actually watch it on Theater Junkies. But um, well, with that, I'll go ahead and move into the ratings for what we normally talk about when it comes to each movie. So, uh, as we've stated on previous podcasts, the average resting heart rate for uh, all the individuals in the study was 65 beats per minute. And the average movie heart rate was actually the same as Nightmare on Elm Street last week at 78 beats per minute. Uh, but what made this a difference is the highest spike was 122 beats per minute in this one.
Damn,
So,
damn, that was, when you said a
Oh,
spike, that was for
this is
real a spike.
then went to 121. Holy
yeah.
crap!
Shit.
That means it's
So,
gonna start getting good,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. It's gonna
Well, I
start
mean,
So,
getting
I think
great.
The Ring is the next one anyway. I
well,
think,
yeah,
right?
at number 11 it's The Ring and number 10 is The Visit. So, but
That's
yeah,
good.
so Um, but yeah, so the overall difference was 13 beats per minute, but I think because the highest spike was greater than Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, put it higher than those two on the list. Actually, Halloween was actually 77 beats per minute for the average movie heart rate. So, um, but but yeah, did you guys have anything else to say on A
Nope.
Quiet
Go watch
Place?
this
I
movie.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely watch it. Yeah.
definitely go watch it, and we'll probably be talking like 4 or 5 episodes from now. We'll be talking about the second one,
Hmm.
and eventually we'll probably be talking about the new Quiet Place movie. But I don't know if we'll do it on this podcast or we might do it on Theater Junkies. I don't know if we've
Well, I
decided.
mean, yeah, I would say the new
Um,
ones would probably go on Theater Junkie, so it's
yeah.
bigger.
So,
But you never know.
but um, but with that being said, I think we already revealed what the next week's episode is going to be at number 11. It's going to be The Ring. And it's not the Japanese version; it's going to be the American version, starring Naomi Watts, um, at number 11. So that'll be what you guys can come to expect next week for Scream Creeps. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you guys haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel, go ahead and do that if you're enjoying the content, and hit that bell so you get notified when the new episodes come out for all of our podcasts, because we're releasing them all on YouTube now in video format, as well as on your favorite streaming platform, or not streaming platform, but podcast platform. And we've also got our weekly Twitch streams coming out, and we stream on YouTube as well on Saturdays with our Call of Duty streams currently. May start streaming more often on other days depending upon what game we're playing. But yeah, for all of us at the Heart of Geek, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Scream Creeps, and we'll see you in the next one when we talk about The Ring. Have a good night, and we'll see you in the next one.
Love you.